I'm making my own video off from a television of my old videos because they don't work anymore on the computer. So I'm taking my Sony camera and making a video of my old 8mm films that were converted to video many years ago. But that video doesn't work because that was on my Windows 95 computer. So now I have to redo it again. Now this is off my Sony camera and it makes an MPG movie. Now that's my dad right there. That would be George, Grandpa George. In this case it would be my father George, and they're in Jocumba visiting us in California about 1980. This will be about 1980, soon after my dad retired, and they came all the way out to California, my folks, to visit us, me and Ruli. Jocumba Airport. Watch out for low-flying aircraft. And so there is my ma and Ruli. Ruli's waving, and my ma's waving right there. So this was in about 1980. Warning, low-flying aircraft. Do not walk in this area. So that's where they want to walk, of course. Is right there in that area. They got to go down there and check all that out. And then my dad's already over there. He went over there by a glider. They're waving, Ruli and my ma. They're waving. And I'm hoping that's coming in okay. I don't want no glare there. But I think it is. I think it's coming in just fine. And there's my dad right there. And he's looking over an airplane. It's way out in the desert by Palm Springs. And there's other aircraft just sitting on the ground right there, and various people going to their aircraft. They're going to be flying today gliders. So their gliders are being pulled up by those airplanes right there, and then the gliders are behind it. They drag them behind, and they get them up in the air. In fact, there goes one right there going down the runway. And it's an airplane pulling a glider. There's the airplane, and then he's pulling a glider behind him. Right there's the glider. You can see the glider. And he's on a really long rope. And he's pulling him right up in the air and get that glider way up into those desert hot updrafts. And the gliders can just sit there and go around and around on those updrafts all day long. Once they're up there, they can just stay there. Now, here's my folks again, looking over these aircraft, the gliders and everything, and they're looking them all over. Now there is a cockpit right there my dad was looking over, and that's what the center of a glider cockpit looks like, and that's what they use, the pilot, just to fly a glider that has no engines. It just glides in the air, and they glide up there however many thousands of feet, 5,000 feet up, whatever it is. And that's my ma and my dad looking over that. And there they are, up in the air, that one that just took off on the runway. And there's the airplane with the glider behind him. And soon he's going to release that guy. The glider's going to unhook the cable. And then the glider's on his own. He just glides all day long. Now there's a glider that my dad's looking over. And my ma. And they're going to pull that glider up there like that one right there. Soon the next one's going to go up. And I think that was the glider already out there by himself gliding. It's kind of hard to catch the glider in the air right there. But that was an old 8mm camera that I took these pictures with in 1980. Oh, he's taking a wing off that glider. Okay. And then I had these converted sometime in the latter, or maybe the early 90s, converted to video on VHS video. In fact, I think they were originally converted on maybe Beta, the old short Beta, the Sony Betas. They don't even make those anymore. VHS tapes, this is the year 2007, and the VHS tapes are being phased out. So within the next 2 or 3 years, there will be no more VHSs because they're now being converted to DVDs. All videos are being converted to DVDs. There's my Ma right there, and that was Ruley. Yeah, all videos are being converted to DVDs. The video stores are selling out the remaining. That was a glider. It just landed right there. He lands on one wheel, and I think he got a wheel in the back. But the minute he came down, oh, and then he plunks over on the side. There's Ruley. There's Lynette. Poochie, I think. What was her name? Poochie?
I think so.
Poochie, and then there's Suzanne, Poochie, Lynette. There's Lynette right there, Poochie. Oh, what a cute little baby. Just a little child. And there is Dan. Oh, that's Dan right there. Yep, that's Dan. Dan with, oh, that's Kimberly. That's Kimberly and Dan. So there's Kimberly. And that's Ruley right there in the blue dress, eating somewhere. We're downstairs at the Crawford reunion in Manton, in the basement of the bank. I think it's the 60th wedding anniversary of the Crawfords. And there's Grandma Crawford, and there's Don in the background. And there is the whole, and that would be, oh boy, I'm thinking that's Don Crawford. I think that's who that is. Either Don or Larry Crawford. Could be Larry Crawford. And this is Lynette. I mean, not Lynette. It's Karen. Karen Barnes. Oh, she does not like to have her picture taken. Oh boy, is she shy. She looks to see if I'm still taking the picture. Sure enough, I'm still taking the picture. Now with my 8mm camera, it zooms in, so it's got a good zoom. But she's hiding. She puts a child up. I don't know whose child that is, but she put a child up there. So her picture wouldn't be taken. And that would be Robert Crawford. Bob Crawford. That's Bob Crawford. With a dark beard, dark hair, no gray hair. And he's shaking hands, I think, with Donchie, Roger Donchie. Forget who this one is. We'll have to get the Crawfords out here to identify who these people are. And that's Don Crawford right there. I know who that is anyway. That's Don Crawford. And then Donna would have to be nearby. I think that's Donna right there that he's talking to. Donna Crawford and Don Crawford. And this is 1980 at the bank in Manton. Forget the name of the bank. There's Karen Crawford. There is Vivian Barnes. Vivian Barnes. That was Karen Barnes. Forget who this is. And that's Roger Donchie. Roger Donchie. They lived outside of town. He was a mailman. He retired from the post office. That would be Marcia. There, Marcia, my sister, Marcia Caldwell. There is Don and Donna right there. They're coming in, Don and Donna. There is Sherry. Well, Sherry's kind of shy too. She doesn't like her picture taken. She ran. Now there's Grandpa Crawford. Gail Crawford. My middle name, Gail. My name's Douglas Gail Caldwell. Well, the Gail come from right here. My grandpa, Gaylord Crawford. There's Rachel. Rachel is my mother's mother. That would be my grandmother, Rachel Crawford. So Grandma Crawford. And they're having their 60th wedding anniversary, 1980, I believe. It's either 79 or 80, but I think it's 1980. for their 60th wedding anniversary. So this would be 17 years ago from now, because this is the year 2007. This is now 2007. I've lost track who these names, but that's Roger Daunchy for sure. And Grandma Crawford and Karen, that's Karen Barnes. Karen Barnes. Forget who that little one is there. I'm going to have to get somebody else out here to help identify who these little ones are. I need somebody from the Barnes family to help me on this. Now this looks like Christy and Dan. Looks like Christy and Dan. I think that's Christy and Dan. Yeah, pretty sure. Christy and Dan and Grandpa Crawford. Now Grandpa, I'm not sure how old he is, but he's pretty old even right here in 1980. And he says, stop taking my picture. So I said, okay, so I turned it off, but then when they went over to the buffet line to start picking up their things, sure enough, I caught him. Grandma caught me, Grandpa caught me. He says, now you stop taking that picture of me. Oh boy, he's shy. Can you believe it? Grandpa Crawford being shy. Now there is Roger Daunchy's wife. Oh boy. What's her first name?
Marge.
Marge Daunchy. Marge Daunchy. And that would be my mother's sister. Now there's Rulie and Dan. Danny. Danny is Christy's son. There's Marcia just for a second there. That's one of the Barnes girls. There's Vivian Barnes. Vivian Barnes. Now there's Vivian and Marge and Lois. Now Vivian is the youngest one. Now there's Lynette. Poochie. I think that was her name. Poochie. That's Lynette. Lynette's waving at me. Lynn. Now there is, forget who that one is, but next to Grandpa, Grandpa Crawford. And there is Marge. So there's Lois. Marge is the oldest one. No, Gail Crawford, the first son from my Grandpa Crawford. First son is Gail Crawford. Then Marge, then Lois, and then Vivian. Wow, okay, there's four of them then. Gail, Marge, Lois, Vivian. Yeah. Now they're in the buffet line. They're the first ones. Grandma and Grandpa Crawford. There's Grandma Crawford. Rachel is her name. Grandpa Crawford, that would be Gail, is his name. There's Sherry. There's Robert Crawford. Robert Crawford in the beard. Bob Crawford. And there is Gail Crawford's wife, Eva. Now Eva right now is not doing too well. Eva Crawford. Now there is Karen Crawford. And I think she's got a pretty big belly for some reason. I'm not going to ask why. Maybe she's eating too much, or she had some watermelon seeds. There's Don Crawford. Don't eat those watermelon seeds. It makes your belly really big. There's Daunchy. That would be Roger Daunchy. Roger Daunchy was a mailman, just like my dad was a mailman. So when they got together, they talked shop. They would talk mailman things, and they went postal. They would go postal when they got together. That is Vivian. There is Suzanne. Sue Rhodes. Sue Caldwell. That's her maiden name. Caldwell. Suzanne. There's Sue pulling Poochie, Lynette. There is Christy pulling Danny. There's Danny with Christy. See Danny with the blonde hair. Can you believe it? Dan with the blonde hair. There is Kimberly. There's Kimberly. Oh, she smiled. Oh boy, she's a little shy too. Yes, Kimberly. And there is Johnny. Johnny, that's Sherry's son. That's Johnny. That's Johnny right there. There's Johnny. And there is, oh my goodness, forgot which one that one was. There's my dad, my ma, Roger Donchie, and we're showing them our yellow van. What year was our yellow van?
77.
77. Yellow van, that's what we went camping. It's converted. There's my ma and Grandpa Crawford and Grandma Crawford. And now they're looking over our books, our genealogy books. We started some of that already back then. That's my dad and Roger and Marge. Stepped right in the picture there. And Grandma Crawford. And there's Grandma and Grandpa Crawford's house in Manton. That house is still there to this day. It's a rental property that Don Crawford has. There's my dad and Roger right there. My dad and Roger and Grandpa Crawford. There's Sherry. That was our yellow 77 Dodge van that we went camping. There's Ruley right there. Ruley's waving. And we wore that van right out, and then we went and we liked camping so much we went and got a red one. Now they're dumping water into a gopher's hole and filling that hole up with water. So that gopher's got to come out. It's an emergency hole in the ground, so it's going to chase that gopher right out because it flooded its home. There's Grandma, Rachel Crawford and Grandpa Crawford, and Christy and Dan and my ma and my dad, George Caldwell. Whoop, it went kind of dark on me there. There it is. Marge, that's Marge, and Sherry. Grandma Crawford right there. Roger Donchie, there's Christy. I call her Skinny Christy. That's Skinny Christy. Wave, Christy. Christy, wave. And that's my dad's Ford pickup. Wave. And that's Dan. The yellow van again. This is at the house at Grandma and Grandpa Crawford in Manton. And that house still exists to this day. It looks pretty much the same as it did back here in 1980. So here we are 17 years later, the house is exactly the same. And there's Susan. There's some flowers that they had right there on the grounds. Really pretty flowers. Red, whatever they are. And all this was taken by there's Roger Donchie, a real close-up. He had a dark tan because he went out fishing and hunting all the time. He liked fishing and hunting. So he had kind of a dark tan. There is Christy and Suzanne. There's Christy. Oh boy, having fun. And there's Suzanne. Sue, oh boy. Sisters. Oh boy. And in our yellow van, we went camping in our van. There's she's showing off. Oh boy. Christy. And her bell bottoms and her purse, and oh boy, at Grandma and Grandpa Crawford's house, there's Ruley, and there is Suzanne, Sue, in our yellow van. That yellow van should come out pretty good in a picture. And and some pansies, flowers there. So I converted all of these old 8mm, Super 8mm films to video. But now the video doesn't play anymore because it would only work on Windows 95. So I'm now re-recording it again off my Sony camera and making another video in a more modern format so that the video will play. And this is MPEG, what's called MPEG. And now my camera must have been on a tripod because it's pretty steady. Now this is Ruley's family, and this is Josh. You look here, Ruley, you got Josh and Karen. Now that's Karen right there in front of Hisco's house. And Hisco is Ruley's brother. And that's Karen right there.
Christy.
Christy, hello. Christy is what I meant to say. Christy, that's Christy. And that's Josh in the background, isn't it?
Yeah.
Josh, yeah. Christy, oh boy, she's a little bit shy too, but she likes the flower. That's in front of Hisco's house in Paw Paw, Michigan. And we got a windmill because it's Dutch. Everything's Dutch. Oh, there's Josh. And he pulled a flower up, showing a flower. Those pictures came out pretty good. And Karen, yes. This is in Paw Paw, Michigan. And Karen now has her own family.
Christy.
Christy, hello, not Karen. I got Karen on my mind. Karen was from Barnes, Karen Barnes. Well, this is Christy, like my Christy. So when Christy calls, we go, is it your Christy or is it my Christy? And this Christy talks a lot faster than my Christy. So I get confused sometimes. I go, what happened to my Christy? She's talking awful fast. So this is in front of Hisco's house, about 1980, because it's on the same roll. 79. Thank you very much. Yeah, come to think of it, I think it was 79. So this is all this film was in 1979. Take back all the 1980 stuff. It's 1979, and that's when my Grandma and Grandpa Crawford had their 60th wedding anniversary in 1979. Oh, this is one of our trips out west. Grand Canyon National Park. There's Ruli and Sandy. Sandy being the wife of Garrett. Garrett is the brother of Ruli. So we have both families on this video. Holy cow, this is a master video here.
I use Mesa Verde area.
Mesa Verde area, really nice Mesa Verde, yes. Boy, that was a nice day to take these pictures here. I want to hang on to that video forever because you may have to reconvert it again someday.
Yeah.
So hang on to the videos. That was a smart move to do that. You would think that once it was put on video, it would be good forever.
Yeah.
Not so. The software gets old and you can no longer play the videos. Mesa Verde, really nice. We're up high. We're taking pictures of Mesa Verde with my 8mm camera. I'm thinking I have this on a tripod because it seems to be pretty steady. And I like taking pictures all the way back in 1979. Here we are in 2007, almost 20 years later. There's Sandy and Ruli. And we're kind of up high somewhere on Mesa Verde, huh? Mm-hmm. We're walking running. We're going to go down and see the ruins, I think the Indian ruins at Mesa Verde. We're up kind of high, and this is where they had the Indian ruins, things where the Indians went underneath the cliffs for their own home protection and everything. Okay, see you later. This is out west. We like to do a lot of traveling out west. So this is Mesa Verde, one of our trips back in '79 already. We lived in California at this time. And Sandy and Garrett lived in Prescott. And looks like there's a little hair right there. Oh, they got out. Okay, now there's Sandy right there. Sandy's looking over the view of Mesa Verde. Now she doesn't know. I caught her on camera. She's blushing. I caught her off guard. She didn't know what was happening there. Mesa Verde. Now let's see. This is Ruli. Oh, Ruli disappeared. Had her there for a second anyway. There's Sandy. Sandy is the wife of Garrett. Now there's Sandy and Ruli. 1979, Mesa Verde. We're looking over the whole plateau down through there. Huge plateau. That's a Mesa Verde, the town right there, I do believe. Today's town. Anyway, 1979. But up in this area is where the Indians had their own homes underneath the caves. We got to go at the Indians where they were underneath the cliffs, and they made their own homes in the cliffs. So we got to prowl all through that, and that was kind of fun. We did a lot of traveling out west and seeing different things. Colorado. This might even be pictures of Colorado. I don't know. It looks like it to me, actually. The mountains in that area of Colorado. There's Garrett right there. And showing Ruli how to take pictures with a 35mm camera. Well, nowadays we have digital cameras, of course. We don't have the old film 35mm cameras. There's Sandy overlooking one of the lakes. I'm thinking this is a lake in Colorado, because we visited them in Colorado and saw a lot of things in Colorado. Telluride, around that area in Colorado. But these were originally taken on 8mm, and they've been converted. Now I'm reconverting them again onto video, because the old videos for Windows 95 won't work anymore. Here we are in 2007, 12 years later, and the videos won't work because they don't have software out there to run the videos. The Windows 95 video when I first did it. So I'm re-recording it onto my Sony camera, and for MPEG, which should last another 10 years before they stop supporting this format. There's Garrett, and this is a bee on top of a yellow flower. He's getting some honey off the yellow flower. And some of those red marks and things you see every so often, that's that old 8mm film, and where it was getting to be so old it started coming apart, so we had to hurry up and put it to video before we lost it. We have it on videotape yet, VHS tape. I think we even have the video. There's, in Colorado, they're playing on a stream. There's Garrett and Sandy and Ruli, and they're drinking right out of that stream. Delicious water, nice and cold. I'm thinking that is Ruli. Yep, it's Ruli. Drinking right out of that stream. It's delicious water. And there's a little waterfalls right there. And that's in Colorado when we went and visited them there and got to see some parts of Colorado. Really, really pretty. And he's going right up to the little waterfalls right there. Gonna check out that waterfalls. Coming right out of the mountains there, that water. Delicious water. Puts his hands out there. Gonna drink that water. Good clean water coming right off those mountains. Now there is Mesa Verde and some of the Indian ruins at Mesa Verde. And they would put their homes underneath the cliffs. And here's some more cliffs way across the valley there, where they put their cliffs under their homes underneath those cliffs, and then they had their own homemade roof. They could live and survive that way without having heavy-duty storms on them. Yellow van with a TV antenna on top. We could get our TV that way. And this is somewhere in Colorado, visiting Garrett and Sandy, and forget the name of the dog. What was the name of the dog again? Brandy. That's what it was. And Brandy's all excited. Oh, Brandy's got to come over and see me, see what I'm doing. Oh, so many people. Brandy's just all excited. Come here, Brandy.
Ben.
Huh?
Ben.
Ben. That wasn't Brandy. This was Ben. That's right. This one was Ben. Brandy was the next one. Now there is Ruli that just came out of the house. There's Sandy tying her shoes. And we're about to go on some trip somewhere, because she's putting things in the yellow van. There's Garrett. Ben, come over. Oh, can't. Oh, Ben's way faster. I can't catch Ben. If he doesn't want to be caught, you can't catch him. Sit. See, he's going to sit. You sit right there. Sit right there. Don't move. And sit right there. And sit right there. Don't move. Not yet. Put your hand there, shake your hand, go get that ball. Then just started right over and got that ball. Oh, this is way too much fun. There is Sandy and Ben, and there's a garden. They were growing a garden there. They have lettuce or whatever. This is some stream there in Colorado. We went and visited. Must be a cool day. We all have jackets on. Ruli, that's Ruli right there. Checking out the stream. Nice, good, clear stream. Oh, delicious. Drink the water right out of the stream. Oh, delicious. Refreshing. That was Sandy. Yep, Sandy. They just came out of the stream. And this is now Ruley having some water in the stream. Delicious. 79. This is the year 1979. You're right. Now I know when all this film was done. And close up of Ruley. And somewhere in Colorado. Gotta be near Telluride. Oh, and that was the end of that one. I wonder if that isn't the end of that.